Well, here we are, Matt Sensitive.
Here we are.
Another recording.
We made it.
We made it. It snowed a little bit today.
It did.
Yeah, a little flurry. Did you see that today?
I did. I would say it was the first snowfall.
Clock it, December 3rd.
Yep. Late.
Where were you when it snowed today?
I was walking to the gym this morning.
You got to the gym. Good for you.
I got to the gym.
Getting to
it
the
was
gym.
important. I needed to today. It was make or break with the gym today. If I didn't make it, we would be in bad shape right now. Walking to the gym, flurries.
Flurries in the gym.
In the gym.
Inside the gym.
Yes.
Wow.
But also like on the outside in the world.
Both places.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was really nice actually. It was very refreshing. I'm happy that there's still snow in New York.
Yeah.
You know?
Do you like this vibe in New York?
Very much. There might be a time where there's no snow in Manhattan.
Because of global warming.
Because of that.
Yeah.
I'm like, man, I'm going to have to explain what snow is to my kids.
But you got to the gym today.
Got to the gym.
That's important.
Yeah. It was good. And then, obviously it's like you trade off. It's like, how long can I be here before I'm really nervous about getting to work on time? You know?
Yeah.
It's never like, okay, I'm just going to save enough time to get to work. I'm always sprinting out of the gym.
You like a buzzer beater.
Oh my God. It's ridiculous. Yeah. But you made it to the gym today too.
But we're in different situations right now. I could go to the gym at any time as long as I block out during the day what I'm doing.
I actually feel like when I was in that situation, I can spend a whole day just being at the gym.
Oh yeah. That's how that's how I am. I'm there for 3 hours sometimes. It's great.
Yeah.
But it's avoidance.
It's productive procrastination in a certain way.
I have complete control over my days right now.
I'm curious about that because you've been producing your own projects. You've been taking on passion projects, but you've also been doing a lot of outreach and you've been putting yourself out there and having, some responses and some lack of responses. Having done this now, what are the biggest lessons that you've taken from this experience?
I sometimes talk to folks who are thinking about leaving their job and committing to their passion project, and that's great, and I think that's awesome. But there's a degree of uncertainty with doing that you have to be willing to accept. An adjustment for me has been around. It's not linear. When you're in a job, you're kind of part of a structure. Whereas when you're out on your own doing your own thing, you might go days or weeks without having knowing where your next project is.
I find it so interesting that in our career trajectories, we do see it as this linear progression, as if we're trying to climb one ladder all the way. I don't know when along our development did we start to view our own evolution as linear. I guess it's because we experience time in a linear way.
You just dropped a crazy bomb there. I guess it's because we experience time in a linear way. This moment is happening. And then this moment is happening. And then this moment. So I guess it's happening sequentially in a linear way.
Some people would think that we are experiencing this moment, the next one, and the past one simultaneously.
Right.
I find it interesting because we view now as the only truth that we have, but even now is an illusion. Even now is an illusion.
What do you mean by now?
It's a good question.
Yeah.
I guess now is just data interpreted.
Yeah. Yeah, now is definitely a construct.
Right. You ever have dreams where you're so sure that it's real?
Yeah.
I had a really interesting dream a few nights ago.
Okay.
We were in New York City.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Pretty reasonable.
Like we are now.
Here we are. It was the near future, and the city was run on an energy source that were these blue orbs, and they were called blue energy, but for short, they were just blue E, so they would be called blueies.
Like you'd have a car, that would be run by a bluey.
Right. But
yeah.
Blueies could also be captured and eaten by humans.
Like little capsules,
Yeah. And so they come in these little balls, these spheres. Yeah. So the whole city was walking around just hopped up on blueies. And it was sort of zombie vibes.
Yeah.
It was this weird sort of war zone where everybody was fiending for these blueies.
Wow.
Yeah. And there was a small band of people that were just running around the city. I was part of it, and we were just trying to keep ourselves safe from these sort of feral people.
Whoa. Kind of like zombie apocalypse kind of situation, like feeding for energy.
Yeah. And then there were these agents.
Oh, yeah. Like
that,
Matrix.
Yeah.
So.
Like Matrix vibes that were running around trying to find people who were harboring blueies illegally. Yeah. And like keeping them and dealing them like person to person, as opposed to the grid and like the infrastructure managing the bluey resources.
Were the blueies like cool looking?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. They
like
had like
lava lamps kind of.
Yeah. They had these like blue glows.
Yeah.
And there was one scene where I was in the back of a car with a woman, and we were just hiding, like hunkering down, and it was nighttime, and we just had like the glow of the blueies in between us.
Yeah.
And then the whole city outside was just on fire.
Like Fight Clubby.
Yeah, it was very cool, very Finchery.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
In the dream, were you thinking, this is cool?
I think that there were moments where I was like, wow, this is really like sensorial and beautiful and vibrant. I love those dreams where you think like, oh my God, my brain is cooking this stuff up. Our brains are so powerful.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you remember your dreams?
I do remember my dreams, and I've been trying to write them down more, practice writing them down. And apparently you're just supposed to, in the moments after you wake up, just try to write as much as you can before it fades. It's amazing how it just disappears every second. It gets further and further away. But I had a dream recently that I was back in Los Angeles where we lived, and I was working at CAA where I used to work. The agency is in Century City, and it's like a big corporate building, but this looked like a UFO futuristic, it was like the Guggenheim kind of, but like wider and like blue, and there were purple lights, futuristic kind of vibe. I was going to interview for a job there because my friend put me up for this job. And he's like, you're going to meet with this agent and maybe be his assistant. And this guy's talking up this job. He's like, you're going to love this agent. You're going to love working for this guy. I loved working for him, and I need someone to work for him.
Classic.
Right? So anyway, I meet this guy, but he's a Hasidic Jew with the yarmulke and the curls, and he's all ripped. He's jacked. And he had Japanese tattoos.
It's amazing.
Yeah, and he was smoking a cigarette. And I was like, huh. I find out that he represents, his only client is David Letterman. And I don't know how he represents David Letterman. He's got a picture of David Letterman on his desk from like the 70s, like not even current David Letterman.
Like Afro David Letterman?
Yeah, like Afro David Letterman.
Nice.
And this guy is like 40, 45 or something. Then he starts to complain about how much money he's making. Like he's not making enough money at this job. And he tells me he makes $70,000 a year. And meanwhile, so my friend who set me up for this interview is kind of there, and he's watching from the corner, and he thinks this is going really well. He's like, right? It's pretty good. I'm like, wait, he makes $70,000. What am I going to make?
Right.
And he's like, you're going to make $25,000. Anyway, there was more to it. I ended up going home, and he followed me home. There was some stuff, like he was trying to get me to like work late, and like he had emails and stuff that I needed answered, but probably some other stuff too. Considering. Point is, I vividly remember this guy. Chain smoking cigs, Hasidic curls, and Japanese tats.
Unreal.
I'd love to see an AI mock-up of this guy.
That guy sounds so fucking cool. Honestly, I would get a Mad Sensitive tattoo.
Mad Sensitive?
I would get a Mad Sensitive tattoo.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
What does Mad Sensitive mean to you?
I think Mad Sensitive really evolved out of just the conversations that we've always been having. Being sensitive is a fucking superpower. There's this weird stigma about that being like, not valuable.
I think there's also an immense pressure that a lot of people around our age, experience, where it's the fear of not being where we're supposed to be, the fear of not being as happy as we're supposed to be, the fear of not being as accomplished or, successful as we're supposed to be. I think that a lot of podcasts try to give you a roadmap about how to optimize your life. But that roadmap is largely unattainable. I would love to wake up early in the morning and immediately go and have direct sunlight hit my retinas, and then, not have blue light after, 5 p.m., only intermittent fast between 12 and 2 p.m. But for anybody who's really just trying to make it in this world and keep their head screwed on straight, and then go to bed, and then wake up again tomorrow and try and do it again. It's really, really difficult to have these images of perfection that we're fed. There's no way that the goal of life is to be happy all the time. Life is about the integration of the happy moments and the difficult moments. Being sensitive is being receptive to those feelings. And if we can be more receptive to that and be more open to that together, then I think we're lined up for a more authentic and a more genuine experience. So that's what I think mad sensitive means.
Yeah, I think that's beautifully said. You were once saying how like you were getting your routines together, your systems. You were starting your like index card habit and working out, and you were saying like you don't know how long it takes. You just know you have to keep doing it. But you don't know. That's the hard part, is that you don't know how long it takes. And I like really resonate with that, especially like right now with the uncertain work stuff. I was telling my friend's thinking about like changing her career. She wants to be a video journalist and is like maybe thinking of pivoting. And what I told her is like, look, you will make it. You will make it. It's just about how long. It could take a month. It could take 5 years. That's all it is. It's just how long you do it, how long you stick with it. And not knowing is really tricky for a lot of, like, you're on the treadmill, you're running, and there's no end in sight. You don't know how long it is till you get your goal. That's fucking crazy making. That's crazy hard to do hard work without knowing.
The word that I would come back to is it's going to take a while. It will get easier, but it's going to take a while. When I was younger, I had a dream that I was running down a hallway and I was looking for a door. And the only way I can reach the door is if I accepted, like truly believed, that the hallway would go on forever.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah. It's like you had to let go fully and then the door would appear.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
I think it might come back to faith.
Yeah. Like real faith.
Yeah.
Like you can't fake it, faith.
Yeah, like surrender.
Yeah, like I'm okay with not knowing, but choosing to have faith. Really choosing.
Yeah, submitting.
Mm-hmm. Like the kind of faith where you jump before you know. That's fucking faith. Like that's courage.
You've skydove before.
Mm-hmm.
Why?
Well, I wanted to prove that I could. And it was something that I was always really afraid of and never thought I would do. So I wanted to feel that heightened fear and then show myself that I could just surrender to it and let go. There are things I'm more scared of than skydiving. Skydiving is pretty controlled. Really, all you have to do is nothing. Like just don't make any crazy movements. Just listen to what they say and just don't panic. Like that's really your only job. But like you and I, when we were jumping around when we were in Croatia, we were on that like castle thing, and we just decided we would just walk across this very thin ledge at the top of this castle on top of this mountain that was on top of this city. It was the kind of jump that like you psych yourself out about, like you one wrong step and you're down the wall.
Yeah, paint the picture.
We went to this fort at the edge of the city. And I'm just gonna tell it again. I already told it. You're like, paint the picture.
Set the scene.
I told the story.
Set the scene.
So it's like, okay,
play
it again, Sam. You tell it actually, because I don't think
I forgot we were on a podcast. We have this thing where we sort of sit on promontories and different sort of high ledges. Honestly, we find those somehow.
That masculine urge.
Yeah, the masculine urge to approach the edge of a
Get as close as you can.
tall building.
Yeah. I think that goes even beyond masculinity. I think it's like wanting a taste of death.
I think that sensation, that rush, is so intense.
Oh yeah.
But that was a crazy experience pushing it like that.
Yeah. First time I pushed it like that was when we did Angel's Landing in Utah at Zion. We must have been 18. I don't know.
I think we were driving out to LA.
Yes. Oh, so
Yeah.
I guess 21,
Yeah.
22. And I remember being up there and being terrified. It's like that vertigo feeling of nowhere up here is less scary. Like there's no area up here where it's more okay. Everywhere is equally terrifying.
You fucking willed yourself to get up there, and you did it, and you peaked Angel's Landing, and that was the coolest fucking thing. You've always done that though.
You've led the way. You led the way. You always do the thing, and then I jump in after you. Yeah, it's like diving in Croatia.
I think that you do that in a lot of ways with what you do. I think that you dive in first a lot creatively.
Yeah, maybe.
And then I think that inspires me to dive in. When we were younger, I think, when we were going to film school together,
yeah,
and stuff, or like running around playing with our cameras and stuff, I would always be inspired by the stuff that you were doing. You kind of had that sort of initial drive to do it. We did some cool shit in Croatia though.
Paint a picture.
So we were on this island of Hvar on the last day of Hvar.
Day, we had a primordial, dare I say, primordial experience on mushrooms. We went to the beach and like the filter that keeps us separated from the world just came off a little bit, and it was just the world just came in. We were swimming in the water, and then there was this other little kind of, it was like an arpeggio. You know what I mean? Is that the word?
I love that word.
Pelagio?
Yeah.
Archipelago, I think. I remember specifically us emerging from the water and me having the thought, it felt like early dinosaur, prehistoric. And I remember you had the same exact thought. And I was like, this feels like we're on this desert, this barren landscape, and we're like the first living beings.
It's the birth of man.
That's what it felt like. Yeah. We were just like, and looking down and being like, oh, we got these limbs.
Yeah.
It sounds like such a stupid, like.
No, it was amazing.
Yeah, it was amazing.
It was like
though.
bipedal, like we're like Homo sapiens, just like standing up for the first
still
time.
Still have our gills.
Right.
You know?
I remember thinking like how connected I felt to it just is what it is. Like life just is what it is. And one day it won't be anymore.
Yeah.
But right now it is.
Yeah.
And this is it. It is. It simply is.
Isness.
Right? The isness. That was great, man. Great day.
You know, we talked about like thinking about death early on. Like we both thought of death young. Like we were young when we first thought of it. And for me, it would be in movie theaters. Like when the previews would come on. For some reason, when I was like 9 years old, it was around then where I started to contemplate that everything here is not going to be here anymore. It's like it's going to be, I'm not going to know anyone. I started to contemplate how terrifying death was, because in my head, death was eternal blackness, but I'm conscious. And there's no one I can talk to. There's no one. And I remember having conversations with you about death, I think, early on.
Yeah, I think that conversations about death were actually sort of where we first bonded, like deeply bonded as best friends. I think that conversation when we were like 11 years old on the bus coming back from a baseball game at Camp Lohican at night,
Mm-hmm.
Red Barons game.
Yeah, Red Barons.
Right?
Yeah.
That's what started our best friendship, was that night. And I think we were talking about death, and we were talking about our families and our parents, and it's really interesting because I think that's kind of what we're doing right now with Mad Sensitive.
Full circle.
Yeah. We're talking about the things that make us nervous together. I think when I was younger, I thought of death as the sort of the blink of an eye, but there is no end, you know? And that scared me because it's just eternal nothingness. But now I feel differently about death. I think that death has on the other side of it answers to a lot of the unknown questions of life.
So you think we're conscious after death?
I think that there's an experience after death that we can't even conceive of. I don't think that it's...
But do you think there's something?
Yeah.
Generally, I think about it in the way that death is like what it was like before you were born. You're not there to experience it. There's no you after death. Isn't it amazing that we all will die and no one knows what happens? That's like this. It's like this little secret that we all have, but we pretend it's not there. But I still feel like I do know I'm going to die, but it's in the background. I don't live my life every day like I'm going to die. I probably should. Do you know you're going to die?
Yeah, I know it. It's all just a blink of an eye.
But how do you counter that? You're like, literally the cure is to just be like, it's like we say, like, face fucking the present moment.
Right.
Just face fuck the present moment. This is life. It's happening now. Enjoy it. Enjoy it. Be present for it. You're never going to be this young again. Oh my God, you're having this amazing memory. Focus on it. Remember it. I'm having so much fun. I'm so present.
Burn it into my brain.
Yeah.
I think creating is a way to counteract it. Loving. Doing things for people.
Yeah. Service. Committing to something larger than yourself, ultimately, I think is big. It's kind of a way to live forever in some way.
What's the allegory of the cave?
There's a cave, and there are prisoners in the cave who have spent their whole life watching shadow play on the walls of the cave. So they see shadows of people moving, and that's been their reality. And the allegory of the cave is basically the exodus of these prisoners taken from the cave and being shown out of the cave and into the light, the bright sunlight of reality that their eyes aren't adjusted to. And they're seeing that what they had been seeing this whole time was actually just shadows being cast from a larger reality. Buddhists view it similarly in terms of enlightenment, and the Matrix is all about this, which is the red pill, the blue pill thing. It's like we are living in the cave right now. Take the red pill, and you'll start to see the shadows, and you'll start to see who's making the shadows, and you start to see the Matrix, like Neo.
And I don't know if there is I don't know if you ever arrive at pure enlightenment.
No.
That's the paradox of being human, right? The paradox of being human is that we'll never reach enlightenment. We'll never reach perfection. And that's not the point. The point is the path. The point is the journey. The point is the pursuit. And when you're talking about the allegory of the cave, we will forever be in the cave of our minds, which is just, literally our skulls are a cave, right? It's
totally.
It's a dark cave.
Yep. It has 5 pathways.
Absolutely.
5 doorways into the mind.
And all of those doorways are guarded by our own perception on how we take that input. So we'll never actually see the light. We'll only see the shadows. But to question the shadows and to be aware that there is a truth out there is the point.
It's almost like we were talking about how death, after death, it won't be you necessarily. It might be a different experience. I think it's probably the same with enlightenment. It's like if you become enlightened, you're no longer you. You are a pure being that couldn't even recognize itself. Armand is never going to be enlightened, and Sam will never be enlightened. It's like, because pure being doesn't have any personality or anything. It doesn't know itself in the context of me knowing myself. It's a completely different paradigm, in the same way of death.
So death is actually the sacrifice of the ego.
Ego death.
Yeah.
Should we
do a Mochi review?
Yeah, I want to do a Mochi review.
Cheers. It's so supple.
I was gonna say.
The sesame seeds complement the red bean in such a way.
The texture is well. So there's the cool red bean in the middle. The cool red bean in the middle is kind of like it's like a paste almost.
Mm-hmm.
Like kind of ice creamy, but like a little more texture to it. Like, but then the outer layer outside the red bean, that's the mochi.
And that's just like jelly.
Jelly.
Like rubbery.
Yeah.
But sweet and thick.
Yeah.
And then
chewy.
Chewy.
Yeah.
And then you have the crunch of the sesame seeds on the outside, which adds almost a salty flavor to it.
Yeah, and a crunch.
It's like if an Uncrustable just, just really fucking owned its shit, just got itself into shape.
Yeah.
Oh.
This has no business being this good.
And it always hits this way, too.
Yeah. Well, that's a fucking 10 out of 10.
So what we got? We got some questions now?
Yeah, let's just do some rapid fire.
Yeah.
How have you changed this year?
I've gotten taller.
Really?
Yeah.
You're still growing.
Still growing.
That's great.
It's crazy. How have I changed this year? I've learned to work with my serious nature a little bit better, I think. I don't take it so seriously anymore. Learning to have a little bit more fun with my adult
A
self,
little more playful.
which is nice.
Nice.
Yeah. How about you?
I'm learning to be more okay with uncertainty. Embrace the contradictions of life and be a little more friendly with them and kind of even enjoy them.
What's your word of the year?
My word of the year?
Yeah.
Aperture. The idea of us widening like a aperture to let more light in. And I think about that a lot in terms of like growing up, letting more information in, like the aperture on a camera opens up and lets more information in. How about you?
Lift.
Ooh,
Yeah.
that's a good word.
I like lift like in like airplane terminology.
Yeah, like lift off.
Yeah. So it's literally lifting the wing into the lower pressure environment.
Uh-huh.
Not so much pushing the wing up, but the wing is actually filling the space of the lower pressure environment,
Uh-huh.
which is why it's called lift.
Oh, nice.
It lifts it up.
I think lift is a good word. Most challenging thing about this year?
I think it's possible to be having a really good time and not be happy at the same time. Over the summer, I was having the time of my life. We were in Europe. We were running around. I had my birthday over the summer.
Mm-hmm.
And at the same time, I felt really, really self-conscious and self-aware. And in my head, you remember when we were in Italy and I was anxious about everything.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember you were struggling a bit. I'm curious about also how it's been going with that anxiety stuff.
Yeah.
I think my lowest point or challenge was just the low simmer of uncertainty in the last like few months of just not having predictability around professional stuff. Kind of like it's open field. It's created a lot of amazing opportunities because I've been able to connect with so many people. That low simmer of uncertainty is difficult to deal with, and it's easy to ruminate.
Definitely, dude. You're leaving Earth. What's the one object you're bringing?
Oh, wow. When I was in Iceland, I remember I must have been 13 or 14. I picked up this rock. Like it was artistically beautiful, and it made me feel like art is in nature. It's everywhere. Like every nature is art. And I remember keeping that rock, and I look at it all the time when I feel like disconnected from nature or uninspired.
That's great. I like the idea of taking something organic.
Yeah.
Maybe I would take the orb from Ashore.
Oh shit.
The film we made.
Yeah.
Because it reminds me of our partnership, reminds me of the film we made, and it has a sailboat in it and a little rock, which reminds me of my dad. So, and my parents, and the ocean. And thinking about that, I think about being in the ocean and about filming ashore and all of the inspiration behind that movie. And it takes me back to a place.
We made a bespoke prop for that movie.
Oh,
Almost lost it.
we lost a 3-inch clear orb in the Pacific, just amidst all of the waves, and we found it.
Thank God. I
Yeah.
can't believe we found it. That was like the second shot. That was the first shot of the day.
First shot of the day.
First shot of the day.
6 a.m. Lost the main prop.
The
of
main
film.
prop that is the linchpin of kind of the whole thing.
Lost it in the ocean. Our lives were on the line.
Yeah. We
several
almost
times.
died a few times.
A few times, yeah.
Tore the roof off a U-Haul.
Well, I was taking the U-Haul back to our spot in West LA, driving along the beach access road. I said, man, I don't remember this road being this long. Bam! 40 miles an hour right into a bridge.
Oh my God.
Peeled the top of that U-Haul off like a can of tuna. The U-Haul got wedged under the bridge like a fucking doorstop. The whole structure of the U-Haul was bent in on itself.
Oh my God, dude.
It was
Thank God you were okay.
Thank
Oh,
God.
dude,
yeah.
no, I didn't. I had to drop it off.
Oh, yeah.
I'm in the truck. The lady with the clipboard is like watching me pull up. It's not like I can talk to them first. I can't be like, hey, listen, we had this bit of an accident.
Not as bad as it
I'm going to
looks.
show you it now. I just want to set your expectations.
Right.
I just came onto the lot. They were just watching the completely fucked up U-Haul.
And the woman who you gave the keys to is just like,
It was covered by insurance.
get top insurance. Always get top insurance.
Unbelievable.
What does it mean to be a man today?
What does it mean to be a man today?
Love. Maybe being a man today is being able to express love openly without fear.
I fucking love that. I love that. And be loved. A word that comes to mind is courageous. Because courageous stems from cœur, which in French is heart. So it's really like strength of heart. And so leading with heart. So like loving without fear is really powerful. So much fear around love. Well,
Yeah.
it's about time.
Yeah.
I think to probably let's land this plane.
Thank you so much for joining us for another.
Sorry.
Thank you so much for joining us on another episode of Mad Sensitive. It's been such a pleasure to have you here with us today, and thank you for allowing us to share with you some of our feelings. And we hope that in time, you might be open to sharing some of your feelings too. It's a platform for us all to get together and speak about the important things of life and some of the things that really don't matter at all.
Thank you for letting us be best friends out loud.
We'll catch you next time.
Stay sensitive.